Our next two guests are North Harbour Tri Club's power couple, Billy Bowman and Laura Beanland-Stephens. They've just come back from Europe where they both podiumed at the World Triathlon, long distance triathlon. And so today we're going to talk about that, but also learn about their background and their history, the story behind the athletes. Billy and Laura. Billy, Laura, welcome back to New Zealand. How are you doing?
We're doing
Very
well. We're
well.
slightly jet lagged because we landed yesterday.
Yesterday morning about 4:30 in the morning. So we spent a lot of yesterday sleeping actually.
Yeah, which we thought was going to really ruin the evening's sleep, but then we woke up again at 7 a.m. this morning. So we're back into it after 24 hours of sleep.
Yeah, so as an introduction, Billy Bowman, Laura Beanland-Stephens, both members of the Triathlon Club. How long have you both been members of the Tri Club?
Oh, I'm probably coming up on 6 or 7 years, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Laura's
about two.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the purpose of this podcast that I'm trying to do is we go training, we see each other, we might have a yarn after training or after racing, but I personally know lots of faces in the Tri Club. And the last person I interviewed, Stephen Farrell, I've known for 20 years and I know him really well. So it was weird because I was asking him questions and I kind of knew the answers. But really, this is the purpose of getting other Tri Club members to know who's in the club and having a quick chat. But as well as that, in the last few weeks, you've been overseas racing. So we're going to talk about the World Long Distance Triathlon Champs and how you both went. But before we get into that, so Billy, you've been in the North Harbour Tri Club for 6 years. How long have you been training and racing in triathlon?
I suppose my first triathlon was when I was 19, so that puts it 9 years ago now. But I think even then I came along to one brick session back then, but I did train for a couple of years by myself and got miserably bored and then joined the North Harbour Hype Train shortly afterwards. So yeah.
And what got you into triathlon? What was the thing that stood out for you? What was the excitement about?
I had a swimming background. I swam all the way through school, but I've got a bit more of a creative mind that required a bit more than just the black line of a swimming pool. So I started running. I was doing trail running, and then I just decided that like once you got swimming and running, you kind of just need a bicycle. And then I had three forms of burning calories, which really fueled my main passion, which is eating.
And Laurie, you've got a background in surf lifesaving, haven't you? You work at like surf lifesaving now.
Yeah.
So you're also a swimming background triathlete,
yeah? Sort of. I'd say I always did sport growing up, and I did triathlons as a child, as a kid. I grew up in Hawke's Bay, so did all the Wheat Bix and the school's triathlon and the Horseshoe Lake triathlon, which even had a kayak, so that was pretty cool. But lost it as I got older, and it wasn't until I was about 24, 25 that I actually picked it back up and kind of jumped straight in the deep end with Ironman as a bit of half Ironman as a bit of a challenge. It was more the physical challenge, and I'd never really cycled, so that was a big shift or a thing to learn.
Yeah, well, there's I know quite a few pros. I'm thinking about Chrissy Wellington, who was a great running background, and she'd trained at altitude, and so she had a huge engine. But she struggled on the bike, and she used to always be spilling, coming off, hurting herself just before a big race. How's he cycling now?
It's good. I'd say it's probably my strength out of the three. I think naturally when something's new, you've got to put more time into it. And I think I have over the last 5 or so years. I've put heaps of time into cycling. So lots of improvements there. But yeah, the handling is, I suppose, still lots of learning there.
Still a TT.
Yeah,
a TT
TTO,
cyclist.
you don't really have to do much except like
2 or 3
in,
corners.
Yeah, tuck in and do a couple of quick turnarounds. So.
Well, I think the first race, Billy, that I remember racing with you was Cairns Ironman in 22.
Yeah.
You qualified for Kona then, and then we caught up in Kona as well.
Yeah.
What's your favourite discipline? Is it cycling?
No, I probably least like cycling, to be honest. I think it's, but I think purely because you have to. It's just hours of mind-numbing. Mind-numbing. Yeah. I think my favourite's really running, actually, surprisingly, for a big rig. Like I obviously do well in the swim, and I'm always right at the front of the pack on the swim. But I quite like. I think there's a more elegance to the running. I think when you have a great run where you don't detonate, I think there's something magical about that.
So I've been told. I always detonate. So, and you've both had quite amazing breakthroughs. So, Laurie, you did really well in the 70.3. It was sub 5 hours you did, didn't you, last year at the Worlds?
Yes, yeah. So really stoked with that race, actually. It's interesting, the 70.3 Worlds, would have been 2024. That race I actually qualified in 2019 in my first ever 70.3. So it was quite a nice like closing of the circle, because it had been in the calendar for so long with all the deferrals through COVID. So it was quite nice to come back to Taupo to do that race. And it was a challenging one, but a really good one. And I finally feel like I got to showcase some of the work I'd been doing in my running as well. So I was really happy with that.
Yeah, so the women's race, was it the same as the men's in terms of how hot it was in the afternoon? I think I vaguely recall it was quite hot in the afternoon, wasn't it? Well, that's towards in the run.
Yeah. From memory, I can't even remember.
Yeah, I do. I blew.
I was thinking that.
That was good.
You detonated, did you?
Yeah, detonated. So I qualified in 2021, and I remember people saying, "Why are you trying to qualify? Because there's no chance you're going to be able to fly to St. George." And I thought, yeah, I know, maybe no one else will be in the roll down. So I had quite an average time to qualify, and I did. But yeah, I had a tough race. And then Billy in Kona, what was your time in Kona?
I think I was just under 10 in the end, 9:54 or something like that.
That's brilliant. But you qualified in Cairns. It was about 10 in Cairns as well, and you qualified, wasn't it?
I did 9:14 or something at Cairns, I think. Yeah, 9:14.
Oh wow!
So Kona was just a great swim and a great most of the bike, and then a complete explosion of heat stroke.
Well,
I think I ran a 3:20, but my elapsed time was like 3:50 for the run, because the amount of time that I spent with my head in an ice bucket.
I think we might have done the same run time.
Yeah, the same run split.
Oh, you and Kona in the same year, were you?
Not in the same year, but the following year.
Oh, right. So what was your time in Kona?
I think 10:36.
Wow.
10:36. So.
Yeah, which wouldn't have been much different from your Taupo time, eh?
No, that's
it was a
PB. So no, not quite a PB. So but I was within 15-20 minutes of my Taupo time. So you'll hear soon as well. I feel like Billy and I relatively were quite similar
in our respective
age groups in terms of ability, but our bodies react to the heat a little bit differently.
Right. So I'm guessing you're similar pace. It's good that you can train together.
Well, I'll just correct that. We're not similar pace.
Oh, similar within your age group.
Within our respective genders and age groups.
All right.
But we do a little bit of training together.
Yeah, I just do single leg spins when we go on long rides. Yeah, so my right leg and my left leg.
We pick the time and place when we're doing our training together.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when my wife and I used to train together, I'd just end up towing her most of the way. Yeah. There was actually the last race we did together was Roth in 2018, and she did a faster run split than me because I detonated again. So. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, the kind of times I do, 11 and a half hours, it's mid-range. I'm happy with it, and I always try and improve. But I'm guessing you approach the sport a little bit differently because you've had breakthroughs and you're competitive. You're looking for podium slots, and you're getting them as well. So, when did you notice? When did you suddenly have that epiphany that I can be actually quite good at this? Can you spot the day when you actually said, I'm going to be quite nimble with this race?
I think have I come to that realization yet? Probably more in hindsight now that you feel good at it. Not, but I'd say it's when you have a good run. To be honest,
Yeah,
I think it's
yeah,
I think it's probably more. I'm more of a. I probably prefer Ironman over half Iron, but I think probably those moments at like Tauranga half where you're actually just ripping. You're running the run right through the finish line. Like, and you're still pushing the pace all the way up. That's probably when you're like, right, I am fit. I'm fit enough and have enough endurance to just keep pushing this thing the whole way through. And probably, so probably that in Cairns. I ran that run right through the end and ran a 3:08 marathon, which was like, you feel like you're running the whole time. Whereas before that, you kind of just go and explode. But yeah.
I think I have quite a, as I said, getting into the sport, it was about, completion, doing the challenge and, getting through a half Ironman, and after we'd done a couple, completing that Ironman. And I remember, like, I really have a particular race that I realized that, oh, yeah, awesome. I'm now racing. I'm not completing this. I'm in the hunt to race. And that was an Ironman. I think it was my third Ironman. I did New Zealand for my first, then Cairns for my second. And Cairns was still a race, but again, like Billy said, the run became quite a challenge. So it was a bit of a hold on situation. And then my third Ironman was Ironman New Zealand. And, about halfway, when I got out of the swim and onto the bike and I knew I was in a really good position, it was like, oh, wow, this is real and this is happening and I'm racing here and in the hunt. So it was a pretty cool feeling. And I feel like since that day, every race has been a race. And depending on how it's going, you then have that kind of hierarchy of goals of what you want to achieve or see happen in that day.
And don't get me wrong, it's not like I did one race where I was running right through the end, and that's been it ever since. I've had one race like that, and then probably every other race has been explosions.
Yeah.
I definitely struggle with the heat. Like Kona was an explosion, Taupo was an explosion. I think probably because it was done 2 weeks after Coast to Coast. So I've only done one Ironman that I'm like, I wrote that Ironman. The rest of them I feel like have just been survival still, So
that you mentioned the Coast to Coast Ironman double. Not many people have done that. That's a huge ask.
I wouldn't recommend it either. It's not a very good idea.
No. So you felt the Coast to Coast in your legs for the Ironman, did you? I mean, it was a tough day as well, if I remember, in 24.
It was bad. It was a bad idea, really. I mean, it was great to say that you've done it, but I went for one training the weekend in between, and I exploded just on a bike ride. I exploded like nothing before, and I thought, oh, that's all right. I'll just give it another rest week. And I just continued. I just basically got straight on that bike at Taupo and exploded within about 5 minutes of riding it, and then went, oh my God, I've got another 9 hours or whatever, another 8 hours of this to go with my goals out of shot. And that was kind of like, what do I do? What do I aim for the next 8? What keeps me going for the next 8 hours? Because this is just terrible.
Welcome to my world, mate. Yeah. And the year before you won Kiwi Man, didn't you? I mean, that was a huge race as well.
I did, yes. It's a wicked race. I put it up there as one of like New Zealand's best races, even though it's not as big and branded and as
What's the grassroots?
It's grassroots, but at the same time it's pure mongrel, you know, like
crazy.
it's just so honest.
Yeah, it's 194 on the bike and 3,000 meters of climbing.
Yeah, and then the same. Well, 40. Well, it's more than 42k on the run, with like 1,400 of vert, and then you got to walk off 5k, you know, at the end to get back to the bloody car park. So, it's a great race. I think I've still got the course record for it as well, just to drop that one. But they've now changed the course, so no one can take it off of me.
Yeah, good on you, mate. So you've obviously had a few explosions, both of you. How do you handle adversity? So you said you had a tough time in Ironman 24, Ironman New Zealand 24, and you know it's going to be a long day and it's going to hurt. What goes through your head? How do you overcome that?
Well, I mentioned before just about, you know, having a hierarchy of goals, and you have this like one thing that you maybe really would be ideal, and then if that's not happening, okay, what's the next thing and what's the next thing? And I think the bottom line for me anyway is always to try and get to the finish line, and that's what you come back to in those moments of I'd say pretty darkness. Ironically, we both had a very, very hard day in Ironman 2024, so both out there battling away. And I think that's the other thing, when you
unaware that
we didn't realize, but
that we were both battling.
you know there's people beside you on the course who are also just having a rough time, so you kind of you can draw on other people, but at the end of the day you're the only person who's going to get you over the line at that point, one step in front of the other, and just, you know, keep pushing through until it's done.
Yeah, I certainly just, again, have like cascading. Well, I had a day of cascading goals, essentially. So you go, right, like I've set out to go under 9 hours for that race, knowing that either Coast to Coast had put like really good base into me or basically ripped me apart, and it was unfortunately the latter, which I probably could have foreseen, but I thought I was a hero. So yeah, I had cascading goals. I went, right, okay, that's probably not going to happen, but I'm still in, like, I came out first in the swim, so I was like, oh, we'll try and you know, win the overall age group, and then it was like, oh, win the age group, and then I was like, oh, you know, and then eventually go, well, you know, the bottom line is finishing, I think.
Yeah,
and
to finish first you got to finish.
And yeah, exactly, and I think a lot of people get that, like, once they've done a couple and they're just aiming for a goal, and then they go, oh, right, that goal's gone, they just DNF. And like, that's something, you know, a lot of people do that. And I think you see more pros doing that because it's their livelihood. But for me, the bottom line of finishing is like, there are so many people, the majority of people on that course are doing it for first time finishers. Like, I think it is almost, it's over 50% of people are first timers. And I think you've got to do that. I think you have to finish out of respect for them as well.
Yeah.
You know, that's an incredible goal for them, and you shouldn't detract from that by just DNFing because you're not getting your goal. You know, like that.
Yeah, I'm not going to make 10 hours, so I'm going to can it. It's like disrespectful to the people who do 12. Yeah.
Yeah, it undermines their goal, I think, in some ways. So you know, that's where I come down. That's the bottom line for me, I think. Yeah.
So, but neither of you are pro triathletes yet.
No.
And any thoughts of doing that?
I guess I don't really know what the draw of becoming a pro is. If you're going to do it as an actual profession, you have to be right at the top, I think, to make ends meet. I know that, you know, there's a lot of people that are professional triathletes in New Zealand, but they're just it's more of a title than an income. So yeah, for me, I don't like we'd have to really go nuts to make an income from it. But I enjoy racing age group and racing with people and training with people, and at the moment I enjoy it, and I don't want to make it something that's not enjoyable by making it my livelihood, or putting the pressure of it to be my livelihood.
Yeah, it changes the whole dynamic of why you do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's also quite cool and sexy to say that you're a professional at the same time, just for clout, Like,
there was a time it did occur to me, but I was never ever close to being fast enough. But there was a time 20 years ago I thought, oh, that'd be a good lifestyle to have.
Yeah,
I think one of the only draw cards for me would be
cheaper
a
entries.
cheaper entry.
But it's not that much cheaper.
Right.
I think
But you've got to be racing heaps.
the pro license is about pro Ironman license is about $2,000 a year. So you've got to race 2 Ironmans a year to make it worthwhile.
Yeah. There's 1 year there that I did 2 Ironmans in 1 year, and that's enough. It's hard work. It's such hard work.
Yeah. Especially if you're going to be competing every time. I mean, if you're just going to rock up and do like a 12.5, then you can do that 5 times a year. I've done that. It's easy, relatively. But if you're going to really throw your body at it, then you need all of that recovery.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the things that impresses me about the professional triathletes is they're like back-to-back racing, and you see they just go hard all the time, and I think that's really impressive.
Yeah.
So what do you both do when you're not racing then? What else is in your life? Laura?
So as you mentioned earlier, I do work for Surf Life Saving, so that takes up a lot of my time. And for Surf Life Saving, I work as the SurfCom manager. So that's looking after our National Operations Centre, which is there to support lifeguards on the beach and liaise with emergency services on the other side. So, and our tasking agencies like police and RCC. So really interesting job, and a mix of being very operational, bit technical, and then of course working with people and management and things. So that's my day job. And then between Ironman and my day job, most of my other hobbies have disappeared.
It's eating.
But love eating, love reading, love a bit of surfing when I get time, enjoying the beach, and skiing as well. So, just general hobbies. But fun fact about me that I suppose lots of people in the Tri Club wouldn't know is that before I worked for Surf Life Saving and before I did triathlon, I was actually a professional dancer. So
there you go. I did know that because I checked your LinkedIn profile earlier today. So that was in Wellington, contemporary, wasn't it?
Yeah, contemporary dance. Studied at the school in Wellington and then freelanced for a couple of years. But yeah, so it's something a bit different.
That would probably put you in good stead in terms of proprioception and ankles and knees and things like that, because you'll probably have very stable joints.
Yeah. Definitely have had some challenges with ankles.
And
over
she's
the
the emotionally stable one as well.
Stable joints and emotionally stable too. Thanks, Billy.
So what do you do, Billy?
Oh, that's a great question. I was actually on LinkedIn existentially looking at updating my profile the other day, going, what do I do? Because I'm between jobs at the moment. But I have a chemical process engineering background, and I have done work in that area, just designing and project managing industrial processes. But more recently, I've been basically a deep tech developer, running a startup that was developing clean energy technology. So I'm sort of focused on developing renewable energy technology is my area of passion, I guess. And
he's in the market for a
but
job.
I'm in the market for a job, which is if we can plug that, anyone on the club got anything on offer. I actually got my last job or running Vortex was contacted through Neil Miller. So
it's really tough markets at the moment for project managers.
And
the tech sector, I know because I'm one, and it's the market's dried up in the last few years.
Yeah, but it just means the good ones rise to the top, hey?
We hope.
But yeah, so that's my area, and that's my passion is kind of that
So this is a North Harbour Tri Club podcast. So a few questions on the club. What's your favourite thing about the North Harbour Tri Club?
For me, it's community, and it's, there are 60 or 70. Oh, we got 160 members, but there are 60 or 70 people regularly at training, and I don't think that happens anywhere else in the world. That to have such a consistent group of people training 2 or 3 times a week is pretty unique, and everyone is, well, I would say most people are there 50% for the training and 50% for socializing and community, which is pretty special. And it's not, we don't think highly of ourselves. We think highly of ourselves, but we don't think of ourselves as being elite or better than anyone. It's still we're just there for a laugh,
Yeah. What about you, Laura?
I think, like Billy said, it's really rare, and I've been a part of a couple of tri clubs, depending on where I've lived since I got involved, really. And though great clubs in their own right, I didn't feel like they had as regular trainings or as quite the same level of community as North Harbour does. And the fact that, with North Harbour, there's so many opportunities throughout the week to come to training and connect is really amazing. So you can build the consistency that you need for triathlon, because we all know that consistency is like the key ingredient to improvement and success. So, you can build that, but at the same time have a great time with meeting people. And it's been, I can't believe it has been about 2 years that I've been around at the club, because it just feels like I've been there forever, because you build those connections, and it's always a great time coming back. And people aren't afraid to push themselves and work hard, but have a great time doing it.
Brilliant. What do you want to see more of at the Tri Club?
Ooh. I think we've been working on it recently, is obviously trying to build our membership and get more new members in. And in doing that, well, when I first started coming, it was a bit harder, because as a young female, there's not that many other young ladies at the club. So you've got to be pretty confident to try and, keep up with the guys and, have that banter. So it's been really great. Recently, we've had a bit of an influx with some more young ladies, which is great. And if we have that, more people will start to come, because they'll start to connect as well. So if we can keep building that that level of community too, that'll be awesome.
And if somebody was new to triathlon, new to the Tri Club, what one piece of advice would you give them?
Do you want to start?
I think from an insider looking out, we accommodate to pretty much all, abilities. We have the full range of abilities, from people that join that can't swim and they literally cannot swim and join, and we've coached them. But I think from an outsider looking in, there's always that perception that anyone that's in a triathlon club is an elite triathlete, which is not the case. And also a perception that you have to do all three, but we do have people that just swim, and people that just run, and people that just cycle. And I think, as a newbie joining the club or about to join, it's probably key to understand that we're not, we do have a few people that are right at the pointy end, but we have a lot of people that aren't at the pointy end, and we like people where, most people are there for the socializing thing, and then we'll do a bit of swim, bike, running, and talking smack over coffee afterwards.
Be ready for some banter.
There's lots of that.
Advice in general, if someone's starting out in triathlon, like, I think you've got to remember not to work hard, but you don't have to take yourself too seriously. Keep having fun, because if you're not enjoying what you're doing and you're not getting those moments of, I it's hard yakka, especially if you're signing up for the bigger races, which you don't have to. You can do the smaller ones, but if you're working hard, there's always going to be a challenge. So it's important to pair it with some fun as well, because otherwise it's just a bit bland.
Yeah, and if you do want to take it really seriously and you're not that good, then you're better off doing high rocks.
Yeah. That sounds like me, actually. So, okay, you bump into this new triathlete, and he is his first triathlon. His name's Billy. What do you say to Billy doing his first triathlon? Obviously, Billy. What would you say to your first triathlon self?
Probably consistency. Yeah, consistency. I mean, you don't really. I think my first triathlon self saw people going this certain speeds like 5-6 years ago, and thinking like that's unachievable. But it's surprising how, without, there's hard work, but I've not been slaving away at it to get faster and faster and faster. I've just been enjoying myself. How I view it is I've been enjoying myself for 6 or 7 years, doing the same thing fairly consistently. Like I do some hard sessions occasionally, but that's only just before a race or something like that. But just consistently ticking through. And I like the times that I do now, I would have been amazed with when I was 6 or 7 years ago. Like just amazed. I knew people that went like just over 9 hours, and you'd be going like, oh my God, they're incredible. But now I'm like, oh, I'm just me. So it's kind of that. I feel like I've done it the right way. I haven't come in and go, I want to go this fast in 2 years. It's kind of just happened, and that's nice. And I'm happy to be where I am, and I just keep having incremental improvements. I'm happy with that until obviously I'm now 28. So there's probably going to be a downhill trend at some point. But I'm hoping I've got maybe 10 years left until the downhill, the time's going down. Start to happen?
Well, my experience is I plateaued between 35 and 48. I was still getting faster at 45.
Oh yeah, okay then. So I've probably got 15, 20 years, which I'm looking forward to, and I don't want to go professional in the next year or something. I just want to keep improving it. It doesn't matter by how much, it's just incrementals.
And what would Laura say to Laura?
Oh, I think Billy tapped into something just before, like there's going to be, you do think it's unachievable at some point. I remember doing one of my first 70.3s and watching the Ironman do the full and going, oh my God, how is that even possible? But it is. So I suppose what I would say to young Laura would be, you got it, like you'll get there. It just will take a bit of time, and it did, and I did. So
there's a lot of people have huge amounts of self-doubts, and Ironman is achievable by most people. Most able-bodied people could do an Ironman. But you're right. I mean, every time I finish a 70.3, I think, wow, I couldn't do that all again. How do I do
it? Same.
We can.
My other piece of advice would be to wear budgie smugglers in racing sooner, because the amount of spectator engagement that you get is phenomenal.
No, I'm not with you there, mate. I can't. I'm red raw when I do that.
You need some more padding.
Yeah. So, talk to me about Spain, Pontevedra, the world champs. How did that go for you both?
It was a really cool trip. Yeah, we had an awesome time. And,
it was both a race and a holiday for us, because make destination races a destination.
It's a long way to go, so we wanted to make the most of being over in Europe.
But we both trained pretty hard. I had a good build into it. You had a pretty good build into it, so we were both pretty fit for it. And we were there for a few days before we raced, and the course was pretty epic. Like a lap, it's a lap in the river, which at first we were kind of going, why is it in the grungy river when there's this beautiful Atlantic coastline just down the road? But the river swim was all good in the end.
It was quite tidal. It had quite a flow. So,
it was quite slow.
Half the swim was like an absolute slog, and then the other half easy.
Yeah, downriver.
Downriver. So yeah, it was a bit of a challenge, but
I was pretty chuffed with my swim because I just smashed. I smashed everyone. I smashed every Euro. So it was pretty good. I think I was about 40 seconds. I came out the water with 40 seconds of all the age groupers, which was pretty sweet. So that gave me a bit of a buzz. You know, you're running down that sort of T1 with everyone going, yoo-hoo. That was and the bike ride was had quite a lot of vert in it, about 500 a lap. So it was 1500 vert over 120k.
Mm.
And so it was basically around a bit of a loop around town, up quite a long, steady climb, and then a long, steady descent back through town, and then a long flat out along the port. So 4 laps of that, and yeah, that was good. But it got hot, so there was a big heat wave through.
Yeah.
There was a big heat wave as we were there. So on race day, I think it was 34 degrees, 33, 34 degrees.
How? Because you'd only got to Europe a week or so before, and it's midwinter in New Zealand. So how did you acclimatise for that? Or did you acclimatise for that?
We didn't. we didn't.
We had an extra. So when we flew over, we went through Qatar and had 20 hours in Doha. So we made the most of Doha by walking around town in the middle of the day in 43 degrees. So I think that was our first injection of heat prep.
Yeah.
Pre-race. And then landing in Spain, we had a few days of very hot inland before we went out to the coast. So we didn't really do any heat prep specifically for the race, because the research we'd done had said the average temperatures were usually between 20 and 25 degrees. So it was
just
almost
like New Zealand summer.
Yeah, New Zealand summer. So we thought, we'll be pretty. We don't need to worry too much. But yeah, then it was nearly 10 degrees hotter on race day, and we felt it.
So yeah, I had 2 good laps on the bike, and then which was fine. So I sort of stayed in my position. I think I was second up until about 80k in, and then like I suddenly started feeling the heat, and I just know from personal experience that I do not perform well in the heat. So I just buttoned off on the bike and just let a few people pass, and that was probably, you know, although it's hard to do, it was probably a really wise strategic choice to do that.
You raced in Townsville last year, and it was quite a warm race in Townsville as well. How did you handle it then?
That was warm. I was better there. I was okay. I was fine on the bike for the whole of that, and then I probably just started to cook about halfway through the run there. But I ran with a bottle. I now always run with a bottle just shoved down my crack, and I just, you know, covering yourself in water is the best way to dissipate heat, really. Latent heat with vaporization, if we want to get technical on it. But yeah, so then goodish bike, had to just ease off at the end of it. Just always spraying myself in water. Just spraying myself. I actually ran out of a drink bottle, so I had the drinking hydration thing on the front, so I was just sucking water up and then spitting it out to like spray myself to get it onto me. But yeah, and then we.
And how did you find the heat, Laura?
So I probably operate in the heat a bit better than Billy does. So I could hold on a little bit more, but I opted to still wear my aero helmet for the ride. A few people changed that out to have road helmet and have a bit of air. And I felt, by the last lap, I was like, my head feels like hot. Like it feels like kind of, when you, for lack of a better word, it almost feels like it's going to blow up. Like you've just
swollen.
It's So by the end of the bike, I was definitely cooking, but getting off. Oh, and the other thing on the bike that was great, because we had that big long descent, there was a bit of breeze, and it was a cooling breeze. So, we talk about like in Kona, it's windy, but the wind is still hot. And
it's like a blast furnace.
Yeah, you don't get any sort of cooling from that. But I was pleased that here, because of the sea breeze, we still did get a little bit of cooling from that on parts of the ride. So that was a saving grace. And then getting onto the run for me, yeah, you're just cooling down as much as possible through aid stations with a hose, and, you know, as Billy said, throwing water on you. And there was some shady sections that I found like a lot of relief in, and I managed to run pretty much exactly as planned and just hold on throughout. So yeah, I was pretty stoked with how that went personally.
The pretty stoked. So what were your placings? Pretty stoked.
Yeah, so I came second in my
Right.
age group, so really happy with that. And what was quite funny is, you know, I'll take the second. So I think came out of the swim pretty well, onto the ride, rode into first place in my age group, and then had a 10-minute lead off the bike into the run. I was like, yo, this is cool. And then about halfway, I saw this woman running and just absolutely flying. And I shouted to a couple of friends who were supporting. I said, is she the one chasing me? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, bugger. And this girl ran up to me and another 10 minutes into me. So she probably ran 20 minutes faster over 30K, and phenomenal. And when someone is running like that, you go, you know what?
It's yours.
Kudos to you. It's a bit different when you're like, you know, racing super close, but you know, I ran as well as I could and as I had planned, so I was really happy with that result.
What was your result, Billy?
I came third, so one off of Flora, but third in the 25, 29, which I was pretty happy with. So as I said, I came off the bike in a pretty healthy position, but and just got running. I think I came off the bike third and just stayed in third the whole run. But I think everyone else, it was a bit of a war of attrition out there. I called it a cauldron of a death march. For me, it was the most awesome run course I've done. So it was just like a 5K loop of the park, of a sort of a grassy park, and then up through Old Town, Pontevedra, and you just got streets lined with people drinking and partying and just having a bloody good time. People yelling like "Bravo, bravo!" at you, and like everyone in Spanish. It was really cool. And then just the aid stations, and the number of aid stations and hoses out there was just phenomenal. Cool. You know, like every sort of kilometre, it's probably less than that. Probably every kilometre in the Old Town, you got people with hoses, and like that really saved me to a degree. But the bit in the park was a bit more like a death march, so I knew that I was cooking in there. So got on to run, but in the second or third lap, I had a sort of 5-minute break with my hands on my knees, dry retching as I was getting heat stroke. But yeah, definitely it was a war against heat stroke for me. So I ran nowhere near the times that I would expect to run, but stayed in my position and held it there until the end. I was quite surprised by it, to be honest.
So
we almost had the same run time, to put it in perspective.
So last year, the Worlds was in Townsville. This year, Pontevedra.
Yeah.
Next year, it's in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Are you interested?
It depends on how the finances are looking.
Yeah.
I think.
To be honest, it's a money thing.
Yeah.
It's an expensive hobby, isn't it?
Townsville ended up being a reasonably cheap experience, but Pontevedra was not 10 times better, but it was pretty cool. You know, you were in a different country with heaps of culture and great architecture and all that, whereas Townsville was in a country with less culture than New Zealand.
It's I've always enjoyed racing in Europe. It's a completely different feel with the spectators and the architecture, and everything's just different in Europe.
Yeah, it was really cool. So it was definitely great value for an experience. But then I suppose Abu Dhabi would be
a whole new experience.
a whole different experience again. But whether we need it, whether the finances will allow, yeah.
Cool. All right. So I'm wondering, what else have we covered? Oh, the quick fire round.
Yes.
So I've got some questions. I've asked Stephen Farrell these questions already. There's no right or wrong. But I just want to see, and I'll ask you, and you one of you go first, and then the other, or go together. See how it plays out. What's your preference, aero or standard helmet?
For racing?
Yeah, for racing.
Aero.
I think now standard, which is controversial.
Okay, discs or just deep rim wheels?
I have deep rims, but that's
okay.
Definitely.
High carb or high fat?
High both.
For nutrition in race day, high carb. For training, probably high eat. Yeah.
Okay. Trainings for swimming, open water or pool? What's your preference?
Pool.
Both. Pool.
And I've got a question for you both. So I've had coaches try and failed and give up on me. I cannot tumble turn. Do you think tumble turning is really important for triathletes?
No.
No, it's not really, but it does enable a better quality of training in the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because you're not pausing for as long at the end.
Yeah, yeah. I just can't do it, mate. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. It's kind of like doing a trainer session, but you pause every 10 pedal strokes.
Yeah. So do you both, because you're in the fast lane in Birkenhead, do you both tumble turn at the end of each pull? Yeah.
I am. Yeah. I think we are. Yeah.
Definitely.
And you both prefer training in the pool, but you said both, Laura.
I probably prefer training in the pool. Well, it depends on the conditions.
Yeah.
If it's like a beautiful day and it's like really
for scenery
nice,
and adventure, definitely open water I prefer, and I do really enjoy the open water. But for quality of session and being able to keep track of your times and your progress, pool is better.
I think they're both important if you're doing triathlon.
Yeah.
The last quick fire: high tech or low tech? Do you have all the Garmin's and Oura rings and tech and power meters, or do you just want to go on feel?
Low tech, but do have a power meter.
I mean, we have some gear.
Medium tech.
Medium tech.
But for overall enjoyment, low tech.
Cool.
I think there's a place for it.
And the final question, so I learned this from the Diary of a CEO, so I'm going to ask you to both write a question for the next guest. The previous guest had a question, and this was to both of you. What is your stretching routine?
Well, it's less extensive than Steve's if he does his stretching routine.
Oh, you'd think I'd have a good one, but I don't. I don't do it enough.
Well, I'm a dancer. Surely you stretch every day, no?
No.
I think that the sport itself is sufficient stretch. Achieves a sufficient stretch.
I disagree. I would say, you do get a bit of mobility, but it's not stretching. I've definitely lost flexibility from doing triathlon.
Yeah. So do you think that flexibility would aid you in your triathlon?
Probably not, because I already have good mobility enough to do what I need to do.
Yeah, that's.
But it might help for recovery wise. But
Okay, thank you both for your. Who would you nominate to be next as guests? Who do you want to hear from?
As a club member?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I reckon we should do someone we don't know that well.
All right. Well, I'll leave you to ponder on that.
How about Leanne Birch?
Yeah.
How about Leanne? She's a newish member and quite newish to triathlon. So that'd be good.
Cool.